Good afternoon. This is a quick run through and introduction if you hadn't got here yet today. Chemical systems. You're on the metric system. No science is complete without a little unit of measurement and graphing and such. So we're not going to emphasize this real big, but we do want to at least introduce you again if you're going to go on after chemical systems or take any other science. And even in chemical systems, you will see units of measurement that you're possibly not quite used to, such as meters, kilometers, liters, grams. And I want to at least get you an introduction to this so it's not so foreign to you the next time you see it. Okay, this is what I do for this lesson is the same as I've done for the others. I think it's just a nice, concise lesson. So you may have done this already if you had me for a previous science, in which case, kudos to you. This will be easier. So where do I keep this? As you already know, classwork, week 1. Okay, there's Flipgrid. And day 2, metric system and conversion. So with metric system and conversion, I would first watch this brief video. It's 10 minutes long. You don't need to watch the whole thing. It could get overwhelming. So just read right here. The metric system and basic metric units. This is what you want to know right here. This helps, but it could confuse you or overwhelm you. I do want to point out, though, that when we get to metric systems and these prefixes and what all these numbers mean like this, 10 to the 12, you'll notice there's 3, 6, 9, 12 zeros. 10 to the 9th, what does that mean? There's a 1 followed by 9 zeros. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So kilo means 1,000, and it's a 1 followed by 3 zeros. And there you go, 1,000. So a kilo is 1,000 of something, and that is 1,000. If it's in the case of grams, 1,000 grams. In the case of liters, it'd be kiloliter. Kilograms would be 1,000 grams, 1,000 liters. 10 to the 6th, the mega, that would be 1 million. Mega is 1 million. So if you had a megaliter or megagram or a megameter, you would have 1 million of those meters, grams, or liters. So those numbers simply represent the number of zeros. And likewise, is -1 just means you go backwards. So it's a 1, and you go back 1 0. If it's -2, you go back 2 places. So 1, 2. If it's 10 to the -3, you go back 3 places. So going through that 1 is 1 movement, and then 2 more would be 3. So 1, 2, 3. And here's what it looks like. You go from 1, 2, 3, 0.001. 10 to the -6 is a micro, and so forth. Okay, so these numbers only represent the number of zeros that come before or after the 1. So here, just again, watch the first 7 minutes. More or less. When you get to that second example, it can get
4.29
somewhat confusing, and I just want you to have a little history. I'd probably give it a little more hoopla if we were in class, but I really don't hold you highly responsible for this. But every good science class should at least have an introduction to measurement and in getting used to, again, the meter, the liter, and the gram as length, weight, and volume. So after you watch that, come over here, and this is the same one I've used in other classes. So if you've had me for any other science, congratulations. And here's the kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli, and this is the basic unit of 1. So going down the ladder means it's getting smaller. Going up the ladder means it's getting bigger. You have all kinds of hints here. To convert to a smaller unit, you just move the decimal point. The reason this works is because it's by a power of 10, and that's explained in other videos. I'm teaching you just kind of the cheat method. If you don't want to understand the math or try to do the math, if you just understand the sequence, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. There's an acronym for you to remember the sequence and order. And so if you know where 1 is at, let's look at this problem right here. 1,000 milligrams to grams. If you know milli is right here, and you want to know the regular gram, the base unit, well, if milli's here and the base unit gram is here, then that's going to be 1, 2, 3 times to the left. to get there. So the answer to this, you would just move it over 1, 2, 3 times. So it would be 1 gram. So 1,000 milligrams is equal to 1 gram. And so that's the power of the ladder method. And you just got to go through slowly. So let's say you want to know 4 kilometers or kilometers. You could say it either way. The 4 is all, the decimal point is always assumed to be right after that number, in this case 4, if it's not shown. So your starting point is km. You want to get to m, the meter. Then you got to go 1, 2, 3 jumps to get there. 1, 2, 3 jumps to get there. And you just fill in those jumps. And so it'll be 4,000 meters. So 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. 4 kilometers would then be equal to 4,000 meters. So take your time, read through these. Here is an example. So what you do, first determine your starting point, then you count the jumps to your ending point. And third, you move the decimal the same number of jumps in the same direction. If you're not real familiar with the abbreviations, all right, you can look them up, but I also gave you this supplemental material, in which case I recommend one of these videos. I believe each goes through, and you can click on this one first, and it will go through teaching you.
In this video, what I want to review is metric conversions. And there's a saying that
what the abbreviations are. This guy as well talks and gives you what those abbreviations are. Okay. So you have plenty of videos to watch. I hope they don't, these are not necessary, but they could help. I most highly recommend this metric conversion trick number 1 if you have time. Trick 2, they're very similar to each other, but it could help. If you want help with more of those 10 times 10 to the 4th power, well, you can watch this Math Antics video, but again, that one's not necessary. They could just all help your understanding, which I think is important. Okay, so what do you have to do and turn in? Well, you don't have to turn in these examples, but do these right here. Okay, so on your paper, you just open up a Google Doc. Or if you, again, want to handwrite it, you can, and email me a picture. The way you do that is once you've done it on paper, you take a picture of it and upload an email, jschneider@mogoodwillexcel.org. Otherwise, if you do it in Google Doc, you put kilogram equals kg, for instance, and just write out your answers. Just type out these. Be a lot of typing or writing, I understand. If you want to just put the answer, that's okay. And don't forget to title it.
Garage door.
Somebody's here. Okay, I'm done for the introduction for day 2. Please, between 3 o'clock and 4:15, I emailed you a link yesterday. I will be available for office hours if you have questions on the metric system, and we can possibly walk through some of those. Thank you very much.